Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So right off the title, you guys can probably already tell what this video is going to be about. And I can assure you that when I started my channel here on YouTube a little over a year ago, I never thought that I would be making a video on anything like this topic. And though my channel is primarily for homeschooling, fitness, just happy, light, encouraging stuff, I do want my channel to be reflective of some of the things that I go through in my life. And I also want to use any type of platform I have to help in any way that I can. So as you guys can see, I am wearing my home shirt. The state of Nevada is my home. I never intended on sharing my location with you guys, just for safety and security reasons. I've kept my location private for the last year and a half almost that I've been on YouTube. But I couldn't not talk about this, and I couldn't not share with you guys that that I do live in Las Vegas for so many reasons. And so as I'm sure you can imagine, I am filming this video on Friday afternoon. It has not even been a full week since the traumatic evil events took place here. So if I get emotional, just bear with me. But I want my channel to be reflective of my life, and it has changed me. It's changed the city I live in, so there is no way for me to not talk about it. But like I said, I have always wanted to keep my location private, but I had to post about it on social media. I had to share encouragement. I had to put it out there. And so before I even get started with any of the rest of what I'm going to use this time for, I just want to tell you thank you guys to every single one of you who have reached out to me on Instagram or left me a comment, or even if you haven't, if you have just prayed for the city of Las Vegas, prayed for the victims' families, prayed for law enforcement here in Las Vegas, I just want to say thank you, because our city has felt it. I have felt it, and it's just been a really hard time here. So I just want to say thank you guys. That was actually the primary reason of why I even felt like I needed to make a video about it, was because once I shared that this is where I live, so many of you were messaging me, and then even some of you guys who were hurting over this were sharing that with me. And so that is what I wanted to talk about today. But there's a lot. This video is just going to be kind of all over the place. So let me just start with saying thank you guys. The second thing is that you're going to see here on my channel in a few days, maybe a week or so, some vacation videos coming out. So my family was actually in Disney World when the events took place here in Las Vegas. And it was Sunday night, so Florida time is 3 hours ahead of where we are. So we went to bed around 10:30 Florida time on Sunday night, which would have been 7:30 Las Vegas time. So we went to bed. When I woke up the next morning at around 8:30 Florida time, it would have been 5:30 in the morning here in Las Vegas. I did what probably a lot of you guys do. My kids were still asleep, so I just grabbed my cell phone. I was going to check my email. I was going to do what I do. And when I grabbed my phone, I had several text messages. I had Facebook messages, all basically saying, we're praying for you, praying for your city. Are you guys okay? And so once I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is so weird. I didn't turn on the news. I didn't do anything. I went straight to Google and I typed in Las Vegas and I pushed enter, and what popped up literally took my breath away. It was just shocking and devastating. Initially, I just read the title, whatever that first one was. Then once I clicked the article to see what else was going on, I realized that the event was at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, and 2 of my very close family members were there. And I knew they were there because I had gone to lunch with them the Saturday before we went on our vacation, and they were telling me how excited they were and that they were really looking forward to it. And they've gone previous years and they always go with a group of friends and they just have a great time. So that feeling of wondering, like, are they gonna respond to my text messages was it was horrible. So I sent the text, and thankfully, what felt like 5 minutes, it was probably only 30 seconds, I got a reply back that they were okay, in just a short version of how they got out and what they saw and all of those things. So of course I was emotionally affected by that. And so my kids woke up and saw that we were all just kind of shaken. So this was Monday morning. We were set to fly back home Monday evening. And so my kids saw me. And so right away, when my kids don't see me cry a ton. I'm not super emotional just on the day-to-day, but they were wondering what was wrong. And so we just told them just very briefly at that moment that something really bad had happened in Las Vegas, and we were worried about our 2 family members, but they are okay. And we just kind of left it at that because we hadn't had time to really read anything or see what was going on or anything like that. So we just left it at that, and we had to go about our day at Disney World that whole day until our flight flew us home that night. And that was so eerie and so odd. It was almost like an out-of-body experience because both my husband and I were very affected by what we read, for reasons that I can't tell you guys everything about our personal life, but there was just a lot emotionally, and it was just a lot. And meanwhile, we're in Disney World where everyone's telling us to have a magical day, and we're walking around like, oh my gosh, it was really hard. So we didn't have time to read articles, watch the news, nothing. But that was a super difficult day. So we flew into Las Vegas less than 24 hours after the event took place. And I knew that the airport was gonna have a scene at it. I knew that there were probably gonna be billboards and there could potentially be affected family members on our flight. And so my husband and I both decided that we needed to tell our kids what had happened. And so we did so in the Orlando airport before we flew home. And my kids are not super sheltered from everything that goes on in the world, for different reasons that, again, I can't say, but they're very aware that everything in the world is not perfect. They're aware of crime, not, of course, everything that happens and all of the horrible details that go with every crime that takes place, but they know that the world is not a perfect place, and And we've talked about other hard situations before that have happened in Las Vegas and around the world. So we were in the airport, and so as I just told you guys, I think one of the #1 ways to talk to your kids about tragedies and evil in the world is to be honest with them, and that is just the approach that we have always taken, and we took again, because they're gonna see things and they're gonna hear things, even if you are diligent about, you know, filtering what they hear and see. But honesty is just the approach that we have always taken. So we explained what happened, very just no details, but just what happened. And then, of course, you know, that can be very scary to kids. It's very scary to adults. So we talked with them about what God says about living our lives in fear, and reminded them that we will always protect them and we will always keep them safe, and that we can't make decisions out of fear, because that is what the enemy wants us to do. And so we talked about that with them, and then, we asked them, do you have any questions? And we always encourage our kids to talk to us about questions about things like this, or really anything for that matter. And of course they have questions, and the most common question, I think, for kids and also for a lot of adults is why? Why did this happen? Why would somebody do this? Why are people so evil? And I think the important part about having that conversation with your kids is that it's okay to say you don't have all the answers. We, of course, as believers, approach it from a biblical standpoint, but still, that's the question that everyone has. I think that is the root of why so many rumors and different things circulate, is for people needing a reason why something this bad could happen, when there is actually no explanation other than they were an evil person and they did an evil thing. There's no other explanation, but I think that there are so many people that are so unsettled that they need an answer. Why did this happen? Who was he affiliated with? All that type of stuff. So we just told them that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to ask God questions. God is not offended by us asking him why. God is not, he's not afraid of our questions. And so we just reassured our kids that they could ask us, they could talk to God in prayer, and we basically told them what I just told you. And then we prayed in the airport as a family, and it was super emotional. And then we boarded our flight and we came home. And when we arrived in the airport, we saw all the billboards with different information about phone numbers to call to locate lost loved ones. People were in the airport holding up signs, handwritten signs saying, if you need a ride to a hospital, I will take you for free. So it was very much still like a very raw, and it still is, but it was like super raw. And the airport is like 5 minutes from where it took place, so it was really hard to be down there and so close to it. So I was really thankful that we had that conversation with the kids before we went there, because I think sometimes leaving questions unanswered or just not having conversations can create more fear and in kids. Kids need reassurance, and so we wanted to be able to do that. And then what we've done just going forward from that time is we have not watched the news in their presence. We have not discussed any of the insignificant details with them. We have continued to pray as a family. We've watched, because we couldn't attend, a few of the candlelight vigils that were held, and we've just taught. It's been a conversation. It's been ongoing. So that is how I told my kids about what happened here in our hometown, and I think they're doing okay. So I think that, you know, we did the right thing. But I understand that it's hard to explain unexplainable evil to your kids, especially as a parent, because you want to protect them. But sometimes you just have to be honest with your kids. And so we were. So that is basically how I approached it. And since that time, we have just been home a lot. I kind of cleared out the schedule. I couldn't really, and I'm still having a hard time going about our daily life. Like, it just feels so wrong to move on with daily life when so many people's lives were forever changed less than 20 minutes from my home. And so my family members that were there, they are physically okay. They are emotionally, I think, working through it now that, like, the shock has kind of worn off. And it's just been really hard. So if any of you guys have prayed again, I thank you. I ask you for your continued prayers. And what I want you guys to know about Las Vegas is that if you've never been here and you've never lived here, I've lived here my whole life. A lot of people think that this is just a place for just all the wrong things. But what people don't know is that Las Vegas is it's a big city, but it's a really small community. And so there are all of the lives that were lost and the people that were injured. Everyone I know has a personal connection to the event in some way, shape, or form. Whether they knew the person firsthand that was, you know, affected, or they know someone who that was their family member. Everybody I know knows and has a personal connection to the horror that took place here. And so what I want to do with this video is I have posted quite a few links down in the description box. These are fundraisers for people that were affected. And these are not just strangers who were affected. These are people that I know personally, like I know their aunt or their cousin or a friend. This is their relative. These are people that my circle knows. And so all those links are down below. If you at all feel compelled to give, please do so. If you just want to pray for them by name, please do so. And also, if you want to take a moment and listen to the song that Eric Church wrote for the event, I did, and I had a very therapeutic cry session when my kids were asleep. I will link that down for you guys as well. And any revenue that I earn from this video, I am going to match and donate to one of the links down below. I have, of course, already donated to many campaigns, but any revenue earned from this video will go towards one of the victims. And so, yeah. I just wanted to thank you guys, to all of you who have reached out. Please continue to pray. Don't pray for me, pray for our city, and pray for the families who lost their loved ones, and pray for the people who survived, for their physical and emotional healing, because I just can't imagine it. So thank you guys, and I will see you soon.